everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
Rob Stapleton.
Yes, sir.
Welcome
Good
back,
morning,
sir.
man. Thank you guys for having me, man. Always.
He's headlining at Caroline's all weekend.
Let me tell you, man, it's my birthday weekend.
Hey.
And see, white people celebrate their birthday that day. Black people, we celebrate for the whole fucking horoscope.
That's right.
Yeah,
You know what
the
I mean?
whole month we can
Absolutely.
get it.
The
Yeah,
whole
that's the
month,
horoscope.
The
You're right.
whole month.
And my
I'm doing
birthday's
it up.
in January 3rd. I celebrate all of January.
Yo, like you should.
Yeah,
Like you should. And that's what I'm doing. This is going to be crazy. Caroline's, always being a home game is always good, always being home. But I got everybody coming out, Tony Rock and everybody else coming through. So it's
What
going to be
about your crew?
unbelievable.
Your crew ain't coming?
Yeah, what's the
You know
difference?
that. You know that. You know the gangster going to be there. You know Mark Vieira. I got a couple other people I can't say that are coming through.
Rudy
but
Rush.
Sure. Rudy Rush flying in. Big shout out. He's on the morning show out there in Dallas doing his thing.
With Claudia.
Yeah, with Claudia Jordan.
Yeah, with Claudia. And I also want to give a big shout out to my girl, Melissa Ford, man.
Oh, yes.
Salute to Melly Mel,
Melissa
Machine Gun
Ford.
Melly.
I'm at this time, Charlamagne, where I'm tired of Hollywood, waiting for Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I took the initiative and shot my own movie. And I did an independent joint, which is off the chain, called The Stuff. So I used all my favorites. I got Michael Blackston in it, Gary Sturgis, Danny Garcia, the boxer. I got Melissa Ford. Everybody knows her as being a video vixen, but she brought the heat, like on that acting shit. And then right after we finished filming, later on, she got in that big car accident.
Yeah.
She was driving her Jeep on her way to Tank's baby shower and got hit by an 18-wheeler. And the car flipped over 5 times, cracked her skull, brain swelling and all of that, man. So
She's lucky to be alive.
Right. So while we're in the festivals doing the movies now, we've been dedicating the whole thing to her, man, and her whole getting well and taking that time to get back to a good place.
And she posted about how depressed and what she was going through since then as well. And it's definitely a difficult time for Melissa. And let me tell you something. I worked with Melissa for years. We both worked together at Sirius, and she is one of the most intelligent people.
Yes.
No,
I don't think people know that because of her video vixen background.
People don't, they think just the pretty face and the dope body that she ain't got nothing up there. She set the template for all of them chicks to make money, back then.
And she's a host too, like she does radio.
And she worked with Floyd out there in Vegas, with his
She had her own show
radio.
on Sirius.
She had her own show on Sirius, exactly. A couple of TV shows, but she really did a thing with the film, man. I just wanted to dedicate it, let her know that we didn't forget her, man.
What is
Salute
the
to
stuff
Machine Gun
about?
Melly.
The stuff is it's people think what I love about it, because we just did it in the festival. We just had it in Newark Festival and in Brooklyn Festival, and people think since Rob Stapleton's involved that it's a straight slapstick comedy. It's Training Day meets Friday. All right, it's about 2 guys going around doing illegal cable, and they cross paths with these corrupt cops, and one of the cops has a gambling debt with the Irish mob, so he goes to these Dominican dudes to go get the money. And he grabbed his bag. The bag comes out the window. The cable guys get it. All type of shit.
I could tell you an old school head.
Yeah.
Now I'm remembering illegal cable. You remember illegal
Yeah,
cable?
illegal.
First of
Yeah,
all-
but that's the crazy part about it, because
Yes.
these dudes supposed to sell fire sticks, but they don't believe in that. These dudes still want the boxes with the
boxes.
remotes. You know what I mean?
You know who used to do my cable? Clue.
Clue?
Clue used to be the hookup for this.
He was the
Everybody
cable
had
guy?
one.
For the cable,
Everybody
yes.
had one dude.
Absolutely. it was
But
Clue.
you had that hookup where the cable would cut off like at 11:45.
That illegal cable guy was so valuable to everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, and they used to be like, you can't turn the box off.
can't turn the box
you
off.
can't, you can't cut it off. Don't cut it off.
cut it off, yeah.
That's like people who had roaches. You can't cut your kitchen light off. Keep the light. Keep
They
the
used, to
light.
send, they used to send the bullets right before the fight to try to cut the fight out. You remember?
Yeah. So you have to call them to get another box. So yeah, that was a whole situation.
And you got a special with Tony Rock, Rudy Rush, Mark Vieira, right?
Yeah, they all coming for that's all for
That's
the
for the
birthday.
Oh, y'all
Yeah.
taping for
Yeah.
that?
We
for the
all,
Comedy
no,
Central?
that's all for the birthday party this weekend.
Okay.
That's part of the crew that's coming through for Caroline's
whole
this
weekend,
weekend
right?
for my birthday. But we do have a special for the New York Kings. We finally, we did this shit like reverse.
Who is the New York King?
All right,
That's what I was asking.
Let's break
Who
that
is?
down. The New York Kings is myself, Rob Stapleton.
Correct.
Talent is just comedy talent. Everybody know talent.
Talent. What up, Talent?
The gangster comedy Capone.
Capone.
And then we got the Latin sensation, Mr. Mark Vieira. This is the dude that brings that heat, man. This dude, and I got to follow that. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody's missing.
Yeah. We had to make some moves. You
Who
know what I
missing
mean?
now?
Drew Frazier. Drew Frazier was part of
Drew
it.
gone now?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real.
What
What's
happened with
going
Drew?
on?
I heard there
I'm
was a
gonna
fight.
I'm gonna keep it real, because
All right.
if you in the Breakfast Club, that's one of the things. If you ain't gonna bring it 120, you might as well not come up here. There was a situation that happened. I'm on the mic. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
There's a situation that happened between Drew Frazier and Mark Vieira that crossed the line.
Tried to stab him.
Yeah, he tried to cross. I mean,
That's
we
crazy.
could take a regular argument,
Correct.
like a regular fight. I mean, come on, you guys are brothers. I know when y'all having some pre-production, you're getting into arguments and all of that stuff. That's what happens with artists. But when you pull a knife on somebody and that person's wife is there,
Whoa.
as a man, I can't ask you to come back to the table and work with that dude again and be in a safe environment.
What he said? What got him there?
You know what happened? This is what happened. We were in a show somewhere upstate in Albany. Killed the show. It is funny. I was talking to the promoter, and she was talking about how she wanted to do a 20-city tour with us because she's tired of working with the rappers because there's always something that happens during the show
And then y'all acting
or
like the
afterwards. And we're talking about doing New York Kings with BBD and coming together and doing all of this stuff. And then Drew kept saying, and it's funny because Mark brought his wife and I brought my wife. So after the show, we wanted to get out of this. We don't want to, sorry about that. We don't want to do no after. We wanted to get our check, get up out of there. Drew was like, yo, we need to talk. We need to talk. So we sat in the room and we talked and it turned into an argument. But it was funny because Mark was so dope with it because Mark, as it escalated, because you can't start an argument here because the only way it could go is physical at a certain point.
Yeah.
You got to like talk and then, listen to each other. When Mark started unbuttoning his shirt and hung it up on the hanger, I said, oh, this shit about to get real. You know what I mean? So they grabbed each other. I grabbed Mark, threw Mark in the bathroom, came back out, and then Drew was standing with his hands behind his back. And I was like, is he bluffing? And then when I looked to sort of knife back there, I lost it. The state troopers came in because we was at a state facility.
bad.
Oh my gosh.
They wanted to arrest, Mark didn't want to press charges, and wanted to let that situation go. But his wife was crying, you know what I mean? She didn't know what was going on because the doors are closed. You could hear
Just hear
all of the
rumbling.
tables and chairs going and all that situation. But the crazy part about it is the next day, Drew acted like nothing happened.
Was
You
he
know what I'm
drunk?
saying? Nah,
Like
he
he
wasn't.
came to the
Drew
show,
wasn't
like,
drunk.
what
Yeah,
you
he
doing?
came to the show like, fellas, I think it was, blah, blah, blah. It was like, yo, you crossed that line. Like,
I mean, Mark's Spanish, though. He can understand pulling out a knife in a fight. I mean, come on. Like, I'm surprised it wasn't him that pulled it out. Like,
I ain't going there, man. I ain't going there. You an asshole.
I'm just saying.
So they squashed it out.
I don't think they really talk since. This is I'm going public with this like for the first time in front of a few million people. But the truth is the truth, and I don't care if you throw the truth up when it lines up. It's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So we try not to throw Drew under the bus or whatever. We just kept moving. We're being honored November 1st by the Laugh Out Loud Comedy Honors. Tracy
Dope.
Morgan, us, Chappelle, Nick Cannon. And just from what we've been doing, they looked at the energy we've been doing with this tour all around the country, and they look to give us an honor. But it's going to be interesting because now, that whole dynamic with Drew. And it started with Gerald. Gerald Kelly was a part before, and I love Gerald, man. I ain't got nothing bad to say about the dude, but it's just business. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just how we just take care of business.
Who owns the name?
Talent. Talent actually does. You know
So
what
Drew
I mean?
doesn't come get that award too, or Gerald just.
I mean, that's a situation that, it's just a situation. You know what I mean? I got respect for the dudes, but yo, I'm in this business now. I move on now, and I can't take no steps back. I'm not waiting on nobody to do nothing no more. You know what I mean? That's why I get mad at this Cat Williams and this in this Kevin Hart beef. You know what I mean? Because I want to see us win. You know what I mean? When you at that level that they at, and Cat, I love Cat. You know what I mean? But you can't fuck with Kevin Hart's business ethic. The dude is
Work ethic is crazy.
His work ethic is crazy. What he's doing with Will Packer, and it's good for the industry to see us doing well. You know what I mean? Whether you think he's funny or not is subjective. You know what I mean? Whether he's funnier than him, I don't give a fuck.
It's just an
about-
opinion.
It's an opinion.
But
It's
like what you
subjective.
said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work.
Exactly.
So you can be the funniest person in the world.
And we don't
Right.
mean talent. The King
I
of
get ready to say
Comedy
hard work's big talent,
No.
and talent might be Drew if he pulls a knife. You caught that too.
I did.
Why do you think it is so much beef around comedians? Because I always feel like people know how hard it is to get to that level. You should salute that.
And it's also so competitive though. And
You
I
know
think-
why it is? Because there's no license for this fucking game. You could jump into this shit at any fucking time. Envy's a DJ. Anybody could say they a DJ and say, yo, Envy, I'm going to get that money. I've been DJ. I remember when Envy, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing with Comedy Game, man. Anybody could just start doing an open mic and then say I'm a comedian. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's not so much like I'm doing the Carolines this weekend. All type of new comics are going to come up to me and be like, yo, can I get 5 minutes? No, that's not what this is about. You got to be 15, 20 years in the game to go on on the Carolines on the weekend. And I don't mean no disrespect to what you're doing, but people just can't come up here on the Breakfast Club because they're your neighbor. You have to be somewhere in the industry and what you're doing.
We've interviewed some.
I don't know
We've
about
interviewed
that.
some bums.
No.
We've interviewed some neighbors. Yeah, we've gotten some neighbors who said, "Hey,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying." Though.
But have you ever seen somebody that hasn't had to put in that much time and be really funny and talented like early on?
Yeah, that goes to what this goes with this internet sensation. Right? The internet dudes, I remember when I was first doing shows with these dudes, I used to hate on the motherfuckers. Like, I didn't get, Vine fucked it up. When Vine came up, you had 5 to 7 seconds to be funny. I come from doing 45 minutes as a headliner. So trying to do it in 7 seconds was fucking unheard of. You know what I mean? So when that happened, I'm like, you can't, I didn't understand how these dudes would be on shows with stand-ups. But one thing I realized later on, because I used to do shows with Fatboy SE and these dudes, and they would just come up there being really silly. And I'm looking at it like, then another dude would come up I never heard of that had 1 million followers would be silly. Then I felt like I had to clean this shit up and actually do stand-up and get people's attention. But what I realized later on is that these dudes, it's a skill to that, getting these followers. I'm not saying you got to be they skilled in stand-up, but there's a skill to getting 1 million followers. If it was easy and just to do, everybody would have 4 million followers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a skill to that. And it reminds me going back to hip-hop. When hip-hop first started, the real dudes that was getting money in the streets, the real hustlers, dudes that was getting it, didn't like rappers. You know what I'm saying? They thought rappers were corny.
And mimicking their life.
Yeah. They were like, yo, so dudes like LL Cool J used to come all the way up to Harlem to be with Poe and these dudes that were really getting it. You know what I mean? They looked at them as, those dudes is corny. We really living a life. You know what I mean? It's NBA players, drug dealers, and rappers. You know what I mean? And two, the rappers became drug dealers. And then the circle, then the circle worked out that way.
That's interesting what you said. I never thought about it like that. If you condition to do a 45-minute set, it's hard to break that down in 7 seconds, 15 seconds.
That shit was dumbing it down. To me, it was dumbing it down. That was the beginning of people's attention span being nothing. And now I'm not going to, I didn't understand that. When you don't understand something, you opposed to it. That might be why Cat Williams is going at Kev, because you have a certain way you're doing business and a certain street level, then it defines what's keeping it real. You know what I mean? Cat looks like he's keeping it real. Kev feel like he's keeping it real in the boardroom. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, they're keeping the real shit corny though.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's just
subjective. It's, once again, subjective.
Because it's like, okay, that's what you want. No disrespect to Cat, but I don't want to be, looking like I'm a washed up fiend somewhere. You know what I mean? Rambling. I don't want that for
like
myself.
A washed up fiend?
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. I don't want that.
See, the thing is, real comedy comes from some pain in your life, right? Like when I started doing stand up. Right, I used to go to Catholic school. Right, I wasn't never this clown dude. Like people said, "Well, me, was you the funny dude at school?" I wasn't. When I went to high school, I went to Catholic school. My father got arrested. I lived with my uncle. My father came back home. We got a place. I got kicked out of school, and I went to high school with Fat Joe up in Morris, up in the Bronx. And then I got evicted out of my apartment. And all comedy comes from pain, right? So I got evicted. I saw my father going through some shit where he just really wasn't balanced. And ain't nothing like when you seeing your furniture from your crib coming out of your house and people on your block are out there and you act like you moving, but you didn't tell people that. But it says marshals and sheriff on the car. You know what I'm saying? That was something that I was like, oh, shit. So I moved up to Co-op City and been on my own since I was like 16, 17. And then a few months after that, my father died. My father committed suicide. And he died, and I was put in this sunken place. I was put in this place where I was like, what was I going to do? I wasn't really raised with my moms. I was raised with my pops, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I look at what Kanye is going through right now, because he don't have his mom, so he's like in this spot where he's all over the place right now. You don't have a smack man. You need somebody to smack you and bring you back. You know what I mean? So I jumped into this comedy thing, and I got a job at the phone company. Then I got into the comedy world. And that's where I came from, and that's where I developed that. And that's where I became what I could have gotten to the drug game. I could have started doing this and that. It was something about that depression, to seeing my father in that coffin, that made me want to avoid that and keep it funny. And it goes, I had a story with Tiffany. When I first met Tiffany Haddish, we was in L.A., right? And I was going through my divorce, and I had an NBC deal that was just finishing. And in LA, if you're not on a deal, you better be working on your next one if you want to eat. You know what I mean? So me and her were doing a show at a casino, and I had just knew Tiffany from Def Jam. I didn't go way back with her, but this was years ago. And I was talking about my divorce, and I'm like, Tiff, I think I'm gonna have to move back to New York. Now, you had a casino. These motherfuckers just lost money. They don't give a fuck. They just want you to be funny. All right, they just waiting for the show. Tiffany is looking in the mirror. Now, this ain't the Tiffany Haddish we know now. This is Tiffany. Tiffany is looking in the mirror, right? I'm telling her, y'all, I don't even want to go home after the show, Tiff. Like, the situation at home with my wife is just, I'm happy to be here. And she was like, yeah, Rob, I feel the same way. She said, my husband, she's looking in the mirror, and I'm standing there. She's talking to me, putting on this makeup. She said, yeah, my husband, he's all jealous. He's just putting his hands on me. And she's covering like a black eye while she's putting the makeup on. And she says to me what she's just going through in her life. And I'm like, yo, in 5 minutes, we got to let all of this shit go out there and be funny. So I came up with an idea for a TV show. I was like, yo, this shit need to be on TV. Like, this is like some clown shit where people think we clowns because we're funny, but we get ready to walk right back home into a situation that we don't really want to be in.
Right, that's what they say, tears of a clown.
Tears of a clown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got Charlie Murphy involved, and we were pitching this whole reality show with Tiff. And Tiffany was good as shit. We would sit at BET. This is what I tell you, motherfuckers don't know what to do with comics sometimes, except a sitcom. They just don't know about this shit. I even hit Mona Scott about. I was like, we need to fuck that love and hip hop shit. This comics is some real felon. They got some real shit in their life. And we was sitting there, and Tiffany was telling me how she was homeless and living in her car, and she was crying at the thing. I'm like, oh, they gonna sign us to 2-3 years. Right. Like, this is crazy. And they didn't get it. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. Like, how do you not get it? Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But it's crazy when you see that type of situation. Tiffany was Tiffany then, and I say we had the right people, but the wrong vehicle, if that makes any sense. Because Tiffany did what she did in Girls Trip, the same character, boom, she's gone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at this part right now where I'm like, yo, fuck waiting on Hollywood now. I'm doing
your own thing.
Do my own thing.
And you have a GoFundMe too, right?
Nah, I don't. I got the funds.
You got everything.
Let me tell this before. Let me say this.
They're gonna call you to testify too in court since you saw Tiffany with black eyes since her ex claims he never abused her.
Can we edit that part
out?
No,
we're gonna keep that in.
They
got me in the lawsuit.
It was some real shit. She was telling me how she used to sleep in the car in front of Stan Lathan's house. She didn't know it was Stan Lathan's house, but she had to pick the right street to sleep in front of because she's a female in a car. So she couldn't just be in the hood. The cops used to make her move. Shit was crazy. You know what I mean? But anyway, in this industry, man, when I decided, because I had a lot of opportunity where I should have blown and I should have had some other shit, but there ain't no excuse. You got to do what you got to do. Somebody throws the alley-oop, you got to play ball, do it, and run with it. So I decided to do my own thing and do the movie. But one thing you find out in this business, when you're looking for help, people will really shit on you. You know what I mean? And whenever you have to ask for money, because when you do a movie, you need investors. You know what I mean? And like my man JB Smooth, who I came up with, invested in me, believed in it, and did it. Michael Blackston not only starred in the movie, he used to sleep on my couch, gave me some paper to do it. But the one thing that I really got to say is the person that shitted on me is the person that I wouldn't think would be the one that shitted on me. And that was Tracy Morgan.
Really?
That was Tracy.
Wow.
Like I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna keep it 100%. I ain't got no beef with Tracy, but like I said, if you throw the truth out there, I don't give a fuck how it comes back to me. When I hit Tracy, Tracy's a fucking full-blown superstar now, where he changed his number. I don't even have his direct number. So I hit my man and said, yo, tell Trey I need to speak to him about the film. I didn't even need money from Tracy. The film's already done. It's not like I need Trey, I need $50K or blah, blah, blah. I said, Trey, I want you to executive produce my film as I walk it into just, distribution. Trey got back to me through my man and said, nah, Trey's not interested. Now, the fucked up part about it, I could take no. I could take somebody telling me my baby ugly if it's true. But
man, stop,
you know what I'm saying? No, for real, it's the truth. I'm a realist, and you got to be real in this shit.
He didn't even see it.
He didn't even ask to see the shit.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But years ago, for the same fucking project, Tracy called me 5, 6 times. Yo, Rob, what's up, man? You still got that script? Him and Mike Epps was hitting me for this script. Tracy hit me. Tracy sometimes be your best friend that day, then the next day it act like yesterday didn't happen. So he hit me 5 times. Rob, I'm getting ready to call you with my manager on the phone. I want him to pitch that script to him. I got a couple of mil to shoot that. Called me back again just to make sure I was going to pick up my phone. Called me back a third time, said he's on a conference call, about to hang up. I need you to speak to him. We on the phone talking to his manager, blah, blah, blah. He loves it, hits me back, says, yo, Rob, we need to fly out in L.A. next week. They want to do this. I said, Trey, I'm going on a cruise. Me and my wife cruise a lot. Went on a cruise. What I hear on the cruise, that's when the accident happened with the Walmart shit. My man Jimmy Mack, our boy Jimmy Mack passed away. Rest in peace. And not only that, I wrote shit for Tracy at the Uptown Comedy Club where he started. He had a character called Biscuit that I wrote. So it's not like I'm some new nigga who's coming in the 12th hour. I wrote shit, Biscuit, because he's 299 pounds, a biscuit away from 300 pounds. I wrote shit for him on Saturday Night Live when Tracy was losing his hair and needed sketches because they wasn't picking him to be in, and you had to pitch sketches to get on the show. That shit's like the Fight Club, trying to get you to get on every week. Keenan and Leslie will tell you that. You got to work to get on the sketch for Saturday. I wrote sketches that they used my name. I wrote a sketch where they had to bring welfare, somebody won the lottery, and they had to bring it to the hood, and Will Ferrell brought the big check. Remember they used to always do the big lottery check, and Samuel Jackson, and they bring it to the door, and it said the Stapletons. I ain't getting no credit for that shit, but I wrote shit, 3, 4 sketches that made it to the show. So now I'm asking you to, throw me a bone and just
help me walk this in.
Help me walk this in. Like, look at the shit and then tell me no. Don't just tell me no from the beginning. So I'll never forgive that shit. Yeah. And I could take a lot of shit because if you can't take no in this business, you need to get the fuck out of there.
You feel like if he's seen it and didn't like it, you understand.
Oh, he don't fucking love it. We getting standing ovations in the festival.
Or at least give you a call.
Just give me back a little bit of the same energy I gave you.
Exactly. Give me the same energy that you did when we was just getting it in the streets when we were doing it. You know what I mean? Just give me that. Let me hear no, but let me earn that no.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm a little salty behind. It's hard to get me really upset with somebody, but that shit right there.
The truth is the truth, man.
The truth is the truth, man.
Wow. Well,
do you feel like you finally getting your just due? Are you not yet?
I feel like it's coming around.
Yeah.
I feel like it's coming around. Like I'm tell you like this: if Def Jam didn't come out, there would have been at least 438 other felons in the penal system because it was a lot of dudes from the hood that were on the brink of which way they were going to go. You know what I mean? Like Bernie, I'm not saying that Bernie was going to be a criminal, but Bernie was an older dude that didn't have no other alternative, that needed to feed his family. He blew on there. Eddie Griffin. Like there was a lot of dudes that were hustling in California, flew into New York to do that show. And if they didn't blow and had that tour, what else you going to do if you only know something else to do? You know what I mean?
I didn't even ask you, how did you get into comedy? Like, you told us the story, but you didn't say exactly how you got into comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I was working at the phone company, saw open mic night, like how a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. Did the open mic night, killed it. It was only like maybe 24 people there, killed it. It was like being in the casino and you put the shit in there and you win. This shit is easy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm quitting my job next week. I'm like, this shit is easy. So this real quick, the next week, you had to bring people. When you first start out, they had open mics, but you got to bring people.
Like
bring 5 people.
Right, you got to, there's a 2-drink minimum.
They got to pay for drinks.
And they got to pay for drinks, and that's how the club makes their money by giving you a little 5 minutes. So, on your job, everybody called you your last name. So everybody, Stapleton's doing the show. Stapleton's doing the show. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to kill them. I had like 33 people come out from the job. So I'm at the comic strip. I'm like, I'm going to kill this shit. Like, ooh. I only had like maybe 7 minutes material, and 4 minutes was funny, 3 minutes with people laughing in between. Right? You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, so Chris Rock walks in, and I'm like, oh shit, Chris Rock gonna see me kill this. I didn't understand the game that if you a star, when you walk in, you get to go on right away. I didn't know that. I didn't know if they say they want to go on next.
And then you had to follow Chris Rock?
Right. So Chris went on and did 40 minutes of just like fire, and I was like, hey, I was next. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how did that? Who does he know? Damn. You know what I mean? So he killed it. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. I went up there. I did so fucking bad. You could hear the cabs driving outside. I did so bad that I saw me in the crowd looking at myself saying, get the fuck off. Get the fuck off.
So your 33 friends didn't cheer for you?
they just looked at me with the bills in their head. And the fucked up part about it is I had to see them the next day at work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I made a thing to
Humbling
myself
experience.
that shit was never going to happen again.
Right.
And one thing I learned from that is always create your own energy when you're on stage. So I'm wild and crazy. I'm sweating. I'm doing shit. I learned to build my own energy. Fuck what anybody else is doing before you. Be a parade. And I don't care where you live. If you see a parade, you're going to stop and check it out for a couple of seconds till they maintain your intention.
Would you get out and be like, and say something about the fact that you had to follow Chris Rock, or did you just do your material without
I was just like thinking that wave was just going to ride with me, but the tsunami came and flooded out my guts. My liver was flowing. I did so bad, the waitress was like, wrap up. I made the price of drinks go up.
Did Chris Rock stay and watch you?
Huh?
Did he stay and watch?
Hell no. They don't do that. They
don't want.
They do it and they go to the next club. He was probably on his way to the cellar after that. You know, working on that new thing. Came and did his shit and they left. So I was like, but I taught a lot. It taught me a lot, I should say.
Early on. That's
this
good.
weekend you in Caroline's.
This week at Caroline's.
Tell them the times and everything.
Got 2 shows Friday, 7:30 and 9:30. 2 shows Saturday, 7:30, 9:30, or 10 o'clock, and 1 show on Sunday. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's my birthday. It's one of the limited times that you see me drunk in public. I really, really celebrate life now. Before it was all about just your birthday and blah blah. I celebrate life because I lost a lot of friends in the last 2 or 3 years, and none of this shit is just. I don't take it that it's given that there's going to be another one.
That's real.
So I really, really celebrate life now. You know what I mean? So y'all coming out, man. You know how I do.
Give me your Twitters and
Carolines.com.
Instagrams and all that, Rob.
Yeah, hit me on that Instagram. I still do MySpace. If anybody not just fucking no, hit me on that Instagram at Rob Stapleton, Stapleton. Hit me up. Get my followers up. Let's do it.
All right, it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning, Rob Stapleton.
Peace. Thank y'all.